And I will assume that in every instance of these recent sell-offs, you'll find an example where Ascension's business practices were called into question, and they made the decision that they could not do business in the way that they're used to in those marketplaces. In states such as Michigan, you can look back at recent history, scan the headlines, and see where Ascension has been in trouble. Yeah, in a lot of states where they don't respect the rights of their employees, the employees will file legal actions, and then sometime later, Ascension will sell off their hospitals and exit that market. So for Michigan, in 2022, for example, over 100 current or former employees sued Ascension in Michigan for alleged violations of Title VII and Michigan state law occurring at its Michigan hospitals. The plaintiffs claimed that the defendant entities discriminated against them based on religion and unlawfully denied their request for religious exemption from the organization's mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy. Earlier this year, when Ascension was hit by the cyber attack that crippled many of its facilities, there were reports like this one by Michigan National Public Radio. It is not safe. Ascension nurses raising alarm during ransomware attack. And according to this report, they write doctors and nurses at Ascension hospitals say they still don't have access to patients' electronic medical records, including their histories, medications, allergies, or real-time test results. Patients are going into elective surgeries before all their lab results have been completed. Blood and urine samples are getting lost in transit. Lab and imaging results are getting misplaced in the blizzard of paper, constantly being spit out of fax machines, sometimes going to the wrong department or arriving nearly a week after being ordered. And yet, despite this, the volume of procedures being conducted did not slow down. And what's obvious here is that their measures that they had in place to deal with such crises were not adequate. One nurse told NPR, "I probably said 25 times during my shift this week, we should not be doing elective surgeries. When they're elective, they can be rescheduled or taken to other hospitals. Patient safety is at risk." Ascension decided that they were going to continue the volume of procedures even in the midst of the unsafe conditions. And so what this tells me is that profits and revenue generation took precedence in this instance. And this is key to understanding Ascension's true motives in their business operations. I was a patient at Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama, 2018 and 2019, where I was misdiagnosed and almost died from a broken skull injury. Tried to go back to the hospital and get these errors corrected, and Ascension would do nothing to help me with this. So there are big issues afoot inside Ascension. I could have easily died from what happened to me, for example. Several $1 million damages just in my case, and my issues are unresolved, outstanding as of September 30th, 2024.
You've reached the Ascension System Office General Mailbox. After the tone, leave a detailed message and someone will respond to your call. Thank you.
I'm trying to reach CEO Joseph Impichike, and he can contact me at that number, and I have a message that I would like to give to Ascension. Between 2018 and 2019, I was an emergency department patient at Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. I believe I had broken my neck. I had an x-ray, 2 CT scans, and later an MRI looked at by Ascension St. Vincent's doctors. Each time they had told me I had no injuries in this area, I knew their diagnosis was an error as my condition worsened. The area became infected and infested with parasites. By summer 2019, I almost died. I obtained my medical records from your hospital along with the X-ray, CT, MRI imagery, and discovered the truth of my injury. I had broken bone in the underside of my skull in the area of the condylar canal and occipital condyle. How the doctors could have missed such a large and serious injury over multiple hospital visits is inexcusable. I believe some element of organized corruption may exist in this hospital. I have compiled over 10 hours of video documentation on what happened to me on my YouTube channel, and the name of the channel is My Medical Nightmare. I believe I may have been a victim of patient dumping in the course of my seeking treatment, which is a violation of EMTALA, E-M-T-A-L-A. When I told medical staff associated with Ascension about my discovery that I had been misdiagnosed repeatedly, I was personally attacked and my psychological state was challenged, and this is reflected in medical records I obtained later. I could not obtain proper treatment or diagnosis for this injury because doctors and nurses that I would subsequently have encounters with would only entertain what the erroneous Ascension ER findings were. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years, had the misfortune of working in an Ascension hospital. When I questioned my MRI findings involving St. Vincent's Ambulatory Healthcare Network, LLC, and Dr. Michael Brandt Ruff, MD, radiologist, in March 2019. My mother, who was a nurse for 20 years and worked in the Ascension Hospital, she was terminated from her job there around the same time. And so this phone call, I challenge the misdiagnosis of Ascension St. Vincent's East Hospital, Birmingham, Alabama, and I challenge the policy of this hospital. And Mr. Pichike, I think you need to look into this, please. Please listen to my message, look into what I'm saying, and you're free to contact me. Thank you.